Imagine sitting by a quiet river at sunset. The golden light dances across the ripples. There's no noise, no rush, only your breath and the calm of the moment. For many, solitude may seem like something to fear, a sign of being left behind. But what if solitude, especially in the later chapters of life, isn't emptiness at all? What if it's a gateway to freedom, peace, and self-discovery? From a Buddhist perspective, much of our suffering stems from our attachment to external validation. We spend our lives chasing approval, clinging to connections, and fearing separation. But as we grow older, we begin to see the truth. True contentment doesn't come from how many people are around us. It comes from the quality of the relationship we build with ourselves. Growing old isn't a story of social loss. It's a sacred invitation to return to who we truly are. With age, our priorities shift. The once urgent need for popularity, status, or constant engagement begins to soften. In youth, friendships serve as mirrors. We seek them to define who we are. But over time, something inside us changes. We begin to question whether all this noise, this reaching outward, is necessary at all. And then stillness comes. We begin to realize that joy doesn't come from being surrounded, it comes from being centered. The pressure to be seen fades. In its place rises a quieter, deeper contentment. The smell of crisp morning air, the slow blooming of a flower, the weight of a familiar book. These become our true companions. This isn't loneliness, this is liberation. Buddhism teaches that all things, including relationships, are impermanent. They shift, fade, evolve. When we stop grasping for connection, simply to fill a void, we make room for authenticity. We become more selective, not from selfishness, but from wisdom. Our energy is precious. Why scatter it on superficial engagements when it could be invested in present? This intentional solitude isn't isolation, it's depth. It's a turning inward, not away. In the quiet of our own company, we find something truly beautiful. The realization that we don't need the world's validation. We were already whole. One of the greatest teachings in Buddhism is self-reliance. The Buddha himself walked away from comfort and companionship to seek enlightenment alone. As we age, we too are offered a choice. Continue conforming to others' expectations, or finally shed them. No more people-pleasing. No more relationships maintained out of obligation. We begin to engage only when it feels real. At first, this self-reliance can feel unfamiliar, even a little uncomfortable. We've spent decades in conversation, in community, in constant motion. But with time, the discomfort gives way to empowerment. We stop needing external approval. We stop bending ourselves to fit. We begin to just be. Think about those moments in life when you felt most at ease. Early mornings with birdsong, quiet evenings watching the ocean waves, a long walk with no destination. What made those moments so peaceful? Not who you were with, but how present you were. That stillness, that full attention to life, that is the heart of self-reliance. In youth, we chase validation through achievement, through relationships, through busyness. But as we grow older, a truth begins to settle in. We don't need to search for fulfillment. It's already within us. There's a quiet, steady peace in knowing you are enough, exactly as you are. And this shift doesn't mean we stop loving others. It means we begin loving them differently, without desperation, without expectation, without needing anything in return. We no longer feel incomplete without company. We give not because we're empty, but because we're full. That's the gift of aging through the lens of Buddhist wisdom. The freedom to stop striving, to let go of performative relationships, and to root ourselves in simplicity, in authenticity, in the richness of our own presence. So as you grow older, don't fear solitude, embrace it. Don't mourn the noise. Celebrate the silence, because in that stillness, something sacred is waiting. The deepest, most joyful version of yourself. There's a quiet kind of power that grows with age. A strength, not measured by how much we do, but by how deeply we feel and how fully we live. In a world that often glorifies being busy, being seen, being connected, there's a quiet revolution taking place in the hearts of those who have lived long enough to understand what truly matters. It's not about collecting friends or keeping up appearances. It's about something much deeper, about rediscovering the joy of your own company and the sacred beauty of solitude. Self-reliance, once mistaken for loneliness, begins to take on a new glow. We no longer seek connection out of need or fear of being alone. We engage with others because we genuinely want to, not because we feel incomplete without them. There's no desperation to be included, no emptiness driving us to maintain shallow ties. When we feel whole within ourselves, we show up in relationships differently, freer, lighter, more present. The shift is subtle but profound, from chasing approval to living in alignment with our own truth. As we embrace self-reliance, our energy becomes sacred. We stop scattering it across countless interactions that leave us feeling drained. Instead, we learn the art of discernment, not from bitterness, but from wisdom. We understand that fewer, deeper relationships often bring more joy than a lifetime of surface-level one. A meaningful conversation shared over a simple meal, the quiet presence of a friend who truly sees us. These moments nourish us in ways no crowd ever could. The teachings of Buddhism remind us that relationships, like all things, are impermanent. Friends come and go. Some fade slowly. Others transform into memories. But instead of mourning what's lost, we begin to celebrate what once was, grateful for the roles people played in our story. However brief, we begin to value quality over quantity, presence over performance. As the Zen saying goes, when drinking tea, drink tea. In other words, be fully there with your whole heart in each encounter. It's in this intentional presence that we experience the richness of life. Whether it's sharing a smile with a stranger, or sitting in silence with someone who doesn't need us to speak, we realize that connection isn't about how often we show up. It's about how deeply we engage. And the beauty of getting older is that we gain the wisdom to stop saying yes to everything. We become choosier, not out of coldness, but from knowing what feeds the soul. Even silence becomes sacred. Where once we may have filled every pause with small talk, now we embrace quiet as a doorway to reflection. Solitude, once feared, becomes our sanctuary. In Buddhist tradition, monks retreat into silence, not because they reject the world, but because they wish to understand it more deeply. The same holds true in old age. As the noise around us fades, we gain the clarity to look inward, processing the past, releasing regrets, and rediscovering the strength that was always within us. We learn that we're not empty when we're alone. We're full with memory, with presence, with quiet joy. The stillness that once felt like a void now feels like a gift. In that space we paint, write, walk in the garden, or simply sit in peace. These solitary acts aren't just hobbies, they're expressions of inner contentment, reminders that fulfillment doesn't come from others, it comes from within. Solitude in its truest sense is not about shutting out the world. It's about creating space to hear our own voice. When we allow ourselves to pause, to breathe, to be, we realize we are never truly alone. In the stillness we reconnect with ourselves, with the natural world, and with a deeper wisdom that's been waiting patiently beneath the surface all along. So if you're entering or already in the later seasons of life, know this: you haven't lost anything by slowing down. You've gained the time and space to finally hear the quiet truth of who you are. This is not a time of fading. It's a time of deepening, of choosing substance over noise, of living not for others' expectations, but in harmony with your own soul. And that perhaps is the most beautiful chapter yet. Solitude isn't about shutting the world out. It's about finding balance. It's knowing when to seek meaningful connection and when to retreat into the quiet embrace of your own presence. As we grow older, silence can shift from something uncomfortable to something sacred, no longer an escape. Stillness becomes a daily practice, a gateway to self-awareness and inner peace. We begin to understand that being alone doesn't mean being lonely. It means being in the presence of someone deeply familiar, ourselves. From a Buddhist perspective, this shift is not a loss, but a liberation. It's a chance to sit comfortably with who you are, no longer trying to please the world, but honoring the person you've become. At this stage, we are invited to slow down, to simplify, to listen, and in doing so we find something remarkable. Freedom, not from people but from expectations that never truly belong to us. But solitude is only one part of the story. As friendships evolve, something else begins to shine more brightly. The importance of family and community. These connections don't need to be vast or loud. A shared cup of coffee with a neighbor, a phone call from a grandchild, a heartfelt moment of wisdom passed down around a dinner table. These are the threads that weave meaning into our later years. In Buddhist tradition, we are all part of an interconnected web. Each of us carries the chance to be a wisdom keeper, a mentor, a quiet guiding light. Our stories, our struggles, our triumphs, they have weight, they matter. When we share them, we're not just telling tales, we're offering something far more enduring, the legacy of our experience. Whether it's a familiar face at the local farmer's market, a brief exchange with someone on your morning walk, or the warmth of a spiritual group you attend weekly, these community moments offer purpose. They remind us that we belong, not because of how many friends we have, but because of how deeply we show up. Buddhism calls this dana, the practice of generosity, giving not to be noticed, but simply to share what overflows from within. An open ear, a kind word, a thoughtful gesture. These simple acts purify the heart and deepen our sense of peace. Because in the end, connection isn't about quantity or obligation, it's about presence. And when we live with presence, we become a gift to those around us. Still, the world will try to pull us in many directions. It tells us we need more friends, more plans, more appearances. But aging is an invitation to walk away from all of that noise, to live on your own terms, to release the pressure to entertain, to impress, to conform. There is no rule book saying you must accept every invitation or maintain every relationship. There is no shame in prioritizing peace. Letting go of social expectations is not withdrawal, it's empowerment. Maybe you prefer a quiet evening to a bustling party. Maybe you say no more than yes these days. That's not failure, it's clarity. The older we get, the more we realize we are not defined by how often we show up, but by how true we are to ourselves when we do. Your happiness isn't measured by how many people surround you. It's measured by how deeply aligned you are with your own truth, by the tranquility that comes when you stop trying to meet others' standards and begin honoring your own. And what about those practical realities? As we age, our bodies may slow, our energy might shift, but those aren't barriers. They're gentle teachers, inviting us to redefine what connection looks like. Maybe it's not about big gatherings or lengthy conversations anymore. Maybe it's the smile of a stranger, the way a handwritten note can lift someone's day, or a quiet moment shared over a cup of tea on a porch swing. Modern tools can help us stay close without draining our energy. A video call with someone you love, a short message sent with intention, or even just sitting together in peaceful silence. These are all forms of connection, and they carry just as much weight, sometimes more than anything grand or loud. So instead of pushing yourself to do more, ask yourself, what nourishes me, what fills my heart rather than empties it? You don't need to keep up, you just need to stay present. Because a well-lived life isn't about being busy, it's about being awake. It's not about pleasing everyone, it's about being real. And it's not about how many hands you've shaken, but how many hearts you've touched with your presence, your kindness, and your truth. And in that quiet, powerful way, your story continues to unfold,
not in noise, but in meaning, not in chaos, but in clarity, not in loneliness, but in love. As we move through the later seasons of life, something profound begins to emerge. The fast pace, the noise, the expectations, they all begin to fade, leaving space for something quieter, deeper, and infinitely more meaningful. In Buddhism, aging is not viewed as a decline but as a sacred return, a return to essence, wisdom, and simplicity.
True connection, we learn, doesn't require large gatherings or constant activity. It requires presence. As our bodies slow, our ability to connect doesn't vanish, it transforms. A soft breeze, a shared glance, a handwritten note. These small gestures become the threads of meaningful connection. We stop striving for surface interactions and instead focus on the depth of engagement. Even a silent video call with a loved one can carry more love than a dozen conversations filled with distraction. When we redefine what connection looks like, we lift the weight of social expectation and begin to live in tune with our current reality. Buddhism teaches that the greatest legacy we leave is not in what we accumulate, but in the wisdom we share. Through storytelling, gentle guidance, and the peace we embody, we leave behind a ripple of compassion. We become living reminders that contentment doesn't come from things, it comes from a clear, unburdened mind. Every kind word, every lesson passed down, every quiet act of presence is a seed planted in the hearts of others. That is true wealth, the kind that outlives us. At the heart of this wisdom is the most sacred relationship of all, the one we have with ourselves. Buddhism reminds us that suffering is born from craving, from always reaching for something more, something different. But when we pause, when we sit with ourselves in stillness and say, "I am enough," we unlock a joy that is steady and unshakable. It is a joy not rooted in accomplishments or praise, but in simply being. Old age is not a time of loss, but a return to truth. We peel back the layers, social roles, expectations, obligations, and what remains is the unfiltered essence of who we truly are. What once felt like emptiness now becomes sacred space. What once felt like silence becomes clarity. In solitude, we listen more deeply, not to the world but to the quiet voice that has always been within us. And here's the beautiful truth. When we are at peace within, our relationships change too. We no longer seek others out of need. We no longer measure love by what we receive. Instead, we give freely because we are already full. We see people for who they are, not for what they can offer. We love, not out of scarcity, but from an abundance that flows from within. Eventually, a powerful realization arises. We were never truly alone. The universe moves through us. In the rustling leaves, the warmth of sunlight, the rhythm of our breath. Solitude in its truest form is not isolation, it is union. Union with the present moment. Union with the vastness of life itself. This is the gift of our own company. Not something to endure, but to cherish. A chance to see ourselves clearly, to honor the journey we've taken, and to live each day not in fear but in reverence. So as we walk this sacred path of aging, let us not cling to what's gone or chase what's ahead. Let us sit in the now with open hearts, still minds, and the quiet knowing that we are enough, that we've always been enough, and in that knowing we are finally free. As we grow older, life invites us to slow down, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. The teachings shared here remind us that aging is not a decline, but a return to truth. It's a chance to embrace solitude as sanctuary, let go of social expectations, and redefine connection on our own terms. Real fulfillment doesn't come from how many friends we have, but from how deeply we know ourselves. When we stop chasing approval and learn to sit with our own presence, we discover a peace that doesn't depend on anyone else. This isn't loneliness, it's liberation. So if you're over 40, take this to heart. Your most powerful years might just be the ones where you finally come home to yourself. What part of this message resonated with you the most? Share this with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more mindful reflections every week. 5. Avoid biting or chewing. Are you experiencing toothache and wondering why the pain gets worse every time you eat? You may be unknowingly aggravating your dental condition due to a simple habit, chewing on the painful side. It may seem obvious, but in a hurry or without paying attention, many people continue to bite or chew on the affected side of the tooth, causing inflammation, swelling and pain to increase with each meal. This is why dental professionals always advise against chewing or biting on the painful side altogether. Instead, switch to chewing on the opposite side and prioritize soft, easy-to-swallow foods like porridge, soup, smoothies or soft omelette. These options not only help you maintain your nutrition, but also significantly reduce the pressure on the damaged tooth, allowing it to heal, or at least not get worse than before you saw your dentist. Another tip: avoid foods that are too hot, too cold, too hard, or too sweet. These can irritate the nerve of your tooth and cause you to have a brain-aching pain. You should also cut your food into small pieces and use a spoon or fork to have more control over where you chew. In today's video, we'll show you how to plan your meals wisely when you have a toothache, how to choose the right foods, and even a little trick to avoid chewing on the wrong side of your mouth when eating. These seemingly simple things can help you relieve pain effectively while you wait to see your dentist. Because sometimes what you need is not to take more painkillers, but to change a small habit in your meal. Watch the whole video to make sure you don't miss out on these incredibly useful home dental care tips. 6. Saltwater rinse. Did you know that one of the simplest, cheapest and most effective ways to soothe a toothache may be right in your kitchen? Yes, it's salt, a common ingredient with incredible healing powers. If you're struggling with a sore mouth, don't reach for expensive medications or panic. Start with warm salt water. Rinsing your mouth with salt water not only helps relieve pain, but it also has the ability to reduce inflammation and kill bacteria, two of the leading causes of toothaches. Simply dissolve a teaspoon of table salt in a cup of warm water, slowly swish it around in your mouth for 30 seconds, spit it out, and repeat until the water is gone. You can do this a few times a day, especially after eating, to keep your mouth clean and reduce swelling and pain. The great thing about salt water is that it's natural and safe, with no side effects, and suitable for all ages. While it's not a long-term treatment, you'll still need to see your dentist soon. It's a great way to keep the pain from getting worse in the meantime. In the next part of the video, you will be guided through the proper way to perform a saltwater rinse, the best time to use it, and mistakes to avoid when applying this seemingly simple method. If you are looking for a gentle but effective first step to relieve toothache at home, then don't take your eyes off this video. Sometimes the solution is not far away, it's right in the glass of salt water you are preparing. 7. Hydrogen peroxide rinse. Did you know that one of the most powerful antiseptics in your medicine cabinet can help you deal with a toothache temporarily? Yes, it's hydrogen peroxide. It's best known for its wound disinfecting properties, but when used properly, it can also help reduce bacteria and inflammation in your mouth. However, this is not a trick you can use haphazardly. The hydrogen peroxide rinse needs to be diluted properly 1:1 with water. That is, 50% hydrogen peroxide and 50% clean water. Then swish it around in your mouth for about 30 seconds, and absolutely do not swallow it. But most importantly, after rinsing with this solution, you need to rinse your mouth with clean water to completely remove any remaining peroxide in your mouth. Why be so careful? Because hydrogen peroxide does not only kill harmful bacteria, it can also disrupt the natural microbial balance in your mouth if used too often. This is an effective but moderate method. Use it only when absolutely necessary and absolutely do not make it a daily habit. In the next section of the video, you'll get step-by-step instructions on how to use this method safely and effectively, along with important precautions to avoid irritating or damaging your gum tissue. If you're looking for a quick yet safe at-home solution to manage your toothache and gingivitis, don't miss the video. Stay tuned until the end for more simple tips and tricks to help you hold out until you see your dentist. 8. Cold compresses. Have you ever been kept awake at night by a toothache that just won't go away? If the answer is yes, you're not alone. One of the simplest yet most effective ways to quickly reduce inflammation and pain is something that almost anyone can do at home. Apply a cold compress. Placing a cold compress on your cheek, exactly where the tooth is protesting, can help soothe the irritated nerve, while also reducing swelling and inflammation within the gum tissue. Simply apply the ice pack to the outer cheek for about 20 minutes, then rest for 20 minutes before repeating. This is a great way to calm down when sudden pain strikes, especially at night when you can't get to the dentist right away. But that's not all. In the next section, we'll share how to combine cold compresses with other mouth care tips, like proper sleeping positions, the right way to use ibuprofen, and herbal teas to soothe the pain. So if you're wondering how to handle a toothache safely and smartly at home, stay tuned. The tips below will not only help you relieve pain, but also help you take charge of your oral health before you get to the dentist. 9. Keep your head elevated. Have you noticed that toothaches tend to get worse at night, especially when you first lay down in bed? That's no coincidence. When you lie flat, more blood rushes to your head, putting pressure on nerves and inflammation, making your toothache more intense. But don't worry. With just a few small changes to the way you sleep, you can make it less painful. A simple but effective solution is to keep your head elevated. You can use 2-3 extra pillows to prop your head up, or if you have one, sleeping in a recliner is a great option. This helps to relieve pressure on your head and face, allowing you to sleep better despite your toothache. Not only will adjusting your sleeping position make you more comfortable while you wait to see your dentist, it can also help prevent the infection from spreading. It is important not to ignore symptoms such as sharp pain when lying down, as these can be signs of a serious infection in the tooth pulp. And this is just one of many ways to help you deal with a toothache smartly at home. In the next section, we'll share more simple but effective tips, like applying a cold compress properly, rinsing your mouth with warm salt water, and using ibuprofen instead of acetaminophen to reduce inflammation more effectively. So if you're struggling with a toothache in the middle of the night, try this tip on elevating your head and stay tuned for the next suggestions. Sometimes, just a small change can bring great comfort. 10. Additional natural remedies for relief. Did you know that your own kitchen may have some temporary remedies for toothaches? When a toothache strikes in the middle of the night or on the weekend when your dentist can't get you, a few simple natural ingredients can provide incredible pain relief, and you don't even have to leave the house. First, peppermint tea bags. It may sound soothing, but peppermint has great soothing properties. Just dip the tea bag in warm water for a few seconds, let it cool slightly, and then place it on the painful area. The cooling sensation will soothe your gums and significantly reduce swelling. Next, clove oil, an old folk remedy. Just dab a little oil on a cotton ball and place it on the painful area, and you'll feel the pain temporarily numbed thanks to the clove's natural anesthetic properties. Don't have cloves? A clove of garlic is your best friend. Garlic is not only a great cooking ingredient, but it also contains allicin, a natural antibacterial agent. Crush a clove and apply it gently to the painful area. It's a bit strong but surprisingly effective. And finally, vanilla extract. something most of us have in our kitchen cabinets. While not too strong, just a few drops of vanilla on a cotton ball and dabbed on the aching tooth can provide a gentle and pleasant numbing effect, especially if you need a quick fix while you wait to get to the doctor. These are all temporary pain relievers, not cure. But if you're trying to survive a toothache, these natural remedies may be just the lifesaver you need. And don't leave, you'll find detailed instructions on how to use each ingredient safely and effectively. 11 serious symptoms. Did you know that a mild toothache can be a warning sign of a serious problem going on in your body? Many people tend to ignore the dull pain or just take painkillers to get through it. But the truth is that severe toothaches, especially when they are sharp, throbbing or painful when chewing, can be a clear sign of a serious infection inside the tooth or gums. And it's not just a dental problem. Once an infection develops, it can spread to other parts of your body, into your bloodstream, your sinuses, and even affect your heart if left untreated. Pain when you lie down, or a feeling of pressure in your jaw, isn't just a sign of fatigue. It could be a distress signal from your body. The important thing here is not to wait. Don't let a small symptom like a toothache turn into a big night. When the pain is sharp, persistent, accompanied by swelling or heat in the cheek, contact your dentist as soon as possible. In many cases, early treatment with antibiotics or performing a root canal or tooth extraction can prevent dangerous complications and protect your overall health. So if you or a loved one is experiencing a severe toothache, don't take it lightly. Next in the video, we'll walk you through the specific signs of a tooth infection, as well as the steps to take to get medical help as soon as possible. Don't look away. The information that's coming up could be just what you need to protect yourself and your loved ones. Sometimes antibiotics are needed before dental procedures. Did you know that sometimes before your dentist can perform procedures like a root canal or tooth extraction, you need to be treated with antibiotics? It may sound surprising, but this is an incredibly important step in protecting your overall health, and can even help prevent dangerous complications down the road. When a tooth becomes severely infected, bacteria can spread beyond the painful area and into the circulatory system. If a procedure is performed immediately after an acute infection, the risk of the bacteria spreading to other organs increases, causing unforeseen consequences. That is why dentists often prescribe antibiotics before major procedures to control inflammation, reduce swelling, and facilitate the subsequent treatment process. This is especially important if you have an underlying medical condition, such as heart disease, diabetes, or a weakened immune system. For these people, the spread of infection can lead to serious, even life-threatening complications. Antibiotics in this case are more than just medication. They are a shield to protect you until your doctor can provide more serious treatment. And if you think you can just get to the dentist and get it done right away, the truth is that you may need to undergo a pre-medication phase first, especially if you're experiencing severe swelling, pain, or signs of an infection spreading. So how do you know if you're one of them? In the next section, we'll share the signs that you need antibiotics before dental treatment, along with important tips to help you avoid delays or risks during treatment. Don't look away from the video. Your oral and overall health may depend on it. 13. Final reminder. Home remedies are not a substitute for professional care. You may have heard of many folk remedies for toothaches, from saltwater rinses and tea bags to garlic and clove oil. And yes, these remedies can help you feel better in the short term. But it's important to remember that these are only temporary solutions and are not a substitute for professional treatment from your dentist. Toothaches don't go away on their own. If you rely on home remedies and put off seeing a dentist, you're putting your health at risk. Mild pain can be an early sign of a more serious problem, like extensive tooth decay, a root infection, or even an abscess. Left untreated, these problems can spread to other parts of your body, leading to dangerous complications. Using temporary remedies like cold compresses, ibuprofen, or saltwater rinses only relieves the symptoms. They don't treat the underlying cause. It's like putting a band-aid on a wound that needs stitches. It covers up the problem temporarily, but doesn't actually heal it. If you're feeling better after trying a few home remedies, don't let temporary relief fool you. The pain can come back more severe, more dangerous, and requiring more complex treatment. So think of these home remedies as a stopgap, a holdover solution, until you can see your dentist. Next, we'll share the warning signs that your toothache shouldn't be ignored and when to see a dentist right away. If you're serious about your oral health, stay until the end of the video. You don't want to miss this important information. One of the key lessons from this article is that dental health should not be taken lightly, and professional treatment should never be delayed. Many people over 30 tend to endure the pain or treat it at home, but this only temporarily masks a problem that is developing. Silent toothaches, even minor ones, can be an early warning sign of infection, pulpitis, or other serious complications. Home care should be a stepping stone, not a last resort. Listen to your body. If you are suffering from toothache, do not hesitate to make an appointment with your dentist. Your health deserves priority. If you find this information useful, please leave a comment sharing your experience, send this video to your loved ones, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on valuable health sharing.